we've got the Focus here. This has been the star of many videos on the YouTube channel. We're taking the engine out today. Neil's very excited to talk.
I've had this car longer than I've known you.
Yeah.
We bought this car in 2016 as a standard Focus ST with a couple of basic mods, nothing special. The plan was to use it for a bit promotional for the company, some track days, some driving fun for the guys at work to take on track, that sort of thing. It progressed to a forged engine build, then to a big turbo, so over the years it's had quite a few iterations of engine work going onto it, and this is its third engine now. Big turbo, Pulsar GTX 3076, Cybex management. It competes in time attack, and this season just gone we've had quite a few problems with electrical gremlins affecting the traction control and fuel system. So we've got Rory come down from Project Zero Racing. He's also works at Matt Lewis Motorsport. He's going to take the engine out of the car for us today. We'll have a look over it, and while it's out, tidy up the general engine bay, do some more sort of upgrades to it, bigger turbo potentially, and change manifold to a tubular potentially. So we're going to see.
We've not got all day today. We've got till like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It is like 8 in the morning now. So I think what we'll do is, while the guys out here, we'll just start doing the easy bits, taking off the bonnet,
the bumper,
yeah, getting everything out of the way, taking off all the things that are easily done. Yeah, well, let's just start removing things we can see.
Yep.
How long are you saying, Neil?
3 hours.
3 hours? No way. 1.5. What do you think, Rory?
I'm going to say, I'm going 1 hour and 40.
Oh, so I'm more... Oh. I believe in him more than he believes in himself.
Do us a favour, Neil. Pull this.
You've got 5 minutes? So I've worked really hard, really hard, for 1 hour and 22 minutes. We're nearly there.
And so the content we've got so far is lying, right?
What content? How's it going, mate? That's why I need new boost hoses. Going to get black ones rather than these green ones because it just keeps us colouring.
We just got to drop the screen, drop the radiator and intercooler and the engine can come out, done dusted then.
Now.
What'd you like? Get your iPhone.
You have to hold the radiator and the intercooler, otherwise you'll get soaking wet.
How heavy is this going to be?
It's not mega heavy, so if you hold that bit there and that bit there, I'll take this bolt out. Now we walk away and leave Neil to it.
I don't trust him. He's done so.
Right, you ready?
Yep.
Right, you ready?
Yep.
Keep it nice and level. Keep it nice and level, or you get soaking wet like you are now.
When the engine was done, it was done quickly to get out for the time attack, so Rory is saying that there's a lot we can tidy up.
Make it easier to work on when we're at the event, you know.
Like what?
So it's like when you're trying to get to things like, if anything happens, when you're trying to get to a bolt or you've got to change your hose or whatever, if you've got too much in the way, for example, the wiring harness on this is like spaghetti junction. Trying to then get to a bolt, you've got to move all these wires out of the way and you might end up fraying a wire or breaking a joint on them, and it just adds to the drama when you're already rushing around. Especially something like time attack, when there's only like a couple of hours between each round, it's a bit of a hard one to try and manage.
Things to remove?
Weight. Weight being the first one, make the car lighter. Second, we're going to tidy up all the wiring harness on it. Change a couple of things, hoses, fuel lines, etc. Just make it a little bit tidier under the bay. At the end of the day, yeah, okay, it's a race car, but it's also representing Greenlight, so you want it to look its best when people come and see it at the show. So just tidy it up, make it look cleaner, give the bay a bit of a paint over maybe, a bit more heat shielding, some more heat protection, new hoses, just a general tidy up and just make it look a bit cleaner and more presentable as well.
So it's what, 1 hour 59 and 49 seconds?
What are we on?
1:53.
Oh, are we?
This is where the bolt snaps. Oh.
Snap involves it coming out. Doesn't even want to move. absolutely mullered. It's going to end up in tears.
No! You saw me nicking it. I'm going to drop another one.
Keep going. Keep going. All the way.
1:58:59. Good.
With a breakfast break and a coffee break.
And a coffee break. And chat.
And then just taking the time. We had an issue with it being really laggy at the last round at time attack at Brands Hatch. Now the problem with these cast manifolds, they're fantastic for road use, where they get to like a period to cool down, but when you're on it all the time for 15 minutes racing in time attack, it takes its toll on them, and basically what it does is it warps the main flange on them so it becomes a banana, and it pulls all these bolts out. For example, the exhaust manifold bolts, this one's just like finger loose. It's blowing the main gasket out between the turbo and the manifold, which obviously then you get all this hot gas flying around at the back of the engine bay, starts to melt things, you get a lot of carbon deposits over everything, things start to loosen off, silicone hoses start to get eaten away, and it just tends to take its toll on everything in the bay. Obviously, apart from the fact that it makes the car drive like rubbish, and the drive ends up getting very hot and he gets very frustrated. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this manifold and stuff off now. We're going to take the cylinder head off. We believe the cylinder head's going to need some repairs on the manifold studs, so we'll get them all helicoiled. We'll probably just have the head reconditioned while we're at it as well. And we'll see what the state of the internals are like as well, what the tops of the pistons are looking like, what the cylinder bores are looking like. Give everything a refresh, new manifolds, new coolant hoses, new water lines, new rear main water pipe, just a general tidy up to get it back to a serviceable state, and then hopefully, fingers crossed and touch wood, we won't have any more dramas with the manifold, so Ronnie can just carry on driving and not have to worry about things breaking.
Is that without taking anything off?
That, I've not even, literally all I've done is take the coolant lines off, so the only thing that was supporting it was the rest of the coolant lines. But that's what happens when you get too much heat, it just warps the flange, pulls the threads on the bolts, and then there's nothing. So you imagine all that exhaust gas is now escaping.
So are they technically tight then, bolts?
Yeah, they'll probably just either stretch the bolts up, start pulling the threads on it, right. And then it's just it'll warp the face on the manifold. It never usually warps the turbo, which is weird, it warps the manifold, but you can see it without even having a straight edge. I can tell you that's bowed. Then if you look at the flange, see how the two sides have
blown out.
Yeah. So the size of piston stock's 83mm. If you go 0.5, they're 83.5. Yep. Obviously that's an RS box, so he's either stayed with 83mm, but the problem is you won't get the correct clearances for the bore, between the bore and the piston. We call it piston to bore clearance. So there's a specific measurement between your piston and your bore that you keep for heat expansion and oil gaps, etc., which he won't have got on a stock bore. If it was 0.5 oversized, then yeah, he might have, but it's moist. So I'm leaning more towards the first one, is that it's just been honed on a 83mm. Yeah, long and short.
Seriously?
Show the face.
Not again.
Not again.
No, it's fine. Being a race engine as such, obviously there's larger clearances, which is why you're getting so much blow by. That obviously explains the breathing issue. It's not necessarily a bad thing as it is for now. The problem is if you go to rebuild this now, I don't know whether it's stock bore or 0.5. If it's 0.5, the block's scrap. And for your application, I wouldn't even put 0.5s in it, because you're at a point where there's that much taken off the cylinder wall, you'll end up cracking it. Even though it's supported with the shims, you'd be at the point of putting a liner block in it. Okay. I'd just leave it as it is. I'd just manage the problem for now. You'll probably get another 2.5, 3 years out of it before it gets, a race before it goes bang, which at that point, it's paid for itself, if you get what I'm saying.
It's been strong for the past couple of years.
Yeah, it's done fine. There's never been, apart from the breathing issue, it's been absolutely spot on. There's no sinister noises, there's nothing going drastically wrong with it. I'd just suggest let's refresh the head, get the new manifold turbo set up on it, go back, make the same power as it did before, and just run the car. Just run the car as it is.
Yep. What's the only negatives with it at the minute then?
The only downside at the minute is obviously, as you can see, the bores are wet. That's because of the clearances that are being ran on the engine. If we overfill the sump with oil, which is what we tend to do with these types of engines anyways. We always put probably an extra litre, litre and a half, especially when you're running an external oil cooler. And what we're finding is oil's making its way into the cylinders, but then also the compression and combustion is then finding its way back into the sump. And then what that does is it pushes loads of oil out of the breather kit that we've got in the car, and it goes everywhere in the engine bay, and it just makes a massive mess. The problem that we've got with the engine at the minute is it's not necessarily destroyed or damaged, it's just because these clearances are so big, we've got a problem there we've got to manage. Which, like I say, is easy to work around. You know, we can probably change the filter housing on it a little bit, make some more internal bafflings in the filter housing, maybe some more bafflings in the actual breather kit as well, and just find that level of oil before it starts throwing stuff out.
Why are there clearance issues there?
Because it's I believe it's a stock bore size, so it'll be 83 mil. The problem is when these engines came from factory, they were bored and clearance for stock pistons. They weren't bored and clearance for aftermarket pistons. So what you tend to find is once you've honed these cylinders ready for a new engine build, it's taken too much meat off the cylinders anyway. So your clearances are a lot larger than they should be. Which is what's going on with this basically. Even if it's a 0.5, the clearance might not have been correct, or because the clearances are so large, the piston ring gaps are probably larger than they should be as well, which is what you tend to find if you go over gapping on the piston rings. Depending on the application, it can cause what you're seeing here. Like I say, it's manageable, we can deal with it. There's nothing wrong with the engine, there's no knocks, there's nothing sinister going on with it. Yeah.
Quite idle, yeah.
Like I say, we'll just clean it up, get everything ready to rock and roll. I'll take the head back with me, we'll get that reconditioned, we'll come back and we'll build it back up with a new turbo kit on, and then it'll be good to go and get raked around Brands Hatch again. But yeah, it's just something we'll manage, we'll just deal with for now.
So we're back in a few weeks with our new head, and we've got a loadable Motorsport on the car as well, so we're going to come back to you when we're ready to build the engine back up.